This week on Sport Fishing, we're going to explode the myth of no fishing in the winter and show you just where and how to make winter fishing just as productive as any other time of the year. Just bounce it up here. Welcome to this week's episode of Sport Fishing. Today we got something a little bit different for you. We're going to show you how to fish wintertime for sand bass and calicos. I'm standing on the bow of the Clemente, a large sport fisher that operates daily out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing down in southern Orange County in Dana Point. So stay with us as we go looking for killer calico bass and monster-sized sand bass.
Sport Fishing with Dan Hernandez is brought to you by Sport Chalet and by Berkeley Trilene, super strong fishing line.
Welcome back to Sport Fishing. This week we're aboard the Clemente out of Dana Point Harbor on one of our sport fishing charters. We've set out to prove that just because it's winter doesn't mean you have to stop fishing. This is Tom Wang, he's the skipper of the Clemente, and we're heading over to the first spot. Tom, why don't you tell our viewers what we're going to be doing here?
Our first spot is what we call the wreck, and it's just a little bit below San Onofre, and it's going to be about in 80 feet of water. And basically what we catch there is sand bass and sculpin, and it's been pretty good last week.
I know a lot of Southern Californians think that once it gets cold over here, you get into December and January, you should just put your rods away, not bring them out to springtime when the calicos are biting good. But down here in Dana Point, you guys get fishing pretty much year round.
You get good fishing in the wintertime. Don't carry the heavy loads like we normally do in the summertime, but it's good fishing still.
Fishing this first area is called the wreck. We're pretty close to San Onofre. You can see the power plant right over there. And the guys are fishing either live squid, anchovies. A couple of us have plastic jigs on, like twin tails, and working them right on the bottom. And that's all I'm doing right now, just working a little plastic jig. Basically a freshwater bass outfit I'm fishing with. Remember, we're sand bass fishing, we're in about 90 feet of water, and the fish are right below us. We're fishing a small wreck. And on the meter, we're able to see the fish stacked up there. So you don't want to cast too far, you want to make sure you fish right around where the fish are. I'm just letting it fall, got it in free spool. Just letting it fall freely here. Get all the way down there where the fish are. And I always like to run the line like this through my finger. Ooh, just got bit. Oh, that was a nice little whip. Oh, he's back.
Back for it.
Came back. Oh, never even got to the bottom on that. It just came up and ate it. When I was saying, I like to free spool it, run the line through my fingers so you can feel that bite, but that fish just really jumped all over and attacked it. Let me get him up here. If we were fishing in structure, like in the kelp and stuff, then I'd go ahead and fish a heavier outfit. But since we're out here, there's not a lot where these fish can cut you off on. That's why I'm fishing the light line. I got 10-pound tests, big game line on here with this light outfit. Here he comes. Nice little sand bass. He's got that big jig in his mouth there. There he is.
We better throw this one back.
Okay, we'll go ahead and bounce him up. Nice sand bass. You can see he's pretty hungry. He just really attacked that thing. Swallowed it. Just take the hook out of him. Legal sand bass. This fish probably go, what do you think, George?
That's about 13.5 inches, I'd
13
say.
inches? We'll go ahead and let him go until you get a bigger one. There he goes. There he goes all the way back down. Let's go ahead and keep working in the area. I know the fish are there. Got it? All right. Oh, this is a bigger fish. You just fishing with that sliding sinker?
Yeah.
Piece of live squid. Oh, this is a lot bigger fish. Now this is a quality sand bass. Go ahead, George. Just show that for the viewers.
Okay. There you go, Elmo. Yeah, that's a good sand bass, about a 16 incher.
Yeah, let's hold them up there. That's a beautiful fish. And what George is doing there for our passenger is just go ahead and taking the fish out for him. It's one of the nice things about fishing out here at Dana Point. The crew's real courteous, and you don't even have to touch a fish if you don't want it.
What's that number? 10? 10, okay.
Nice fish. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with a lot more action aboard the Clemente. Yeah! He's working that jig down there in the bottom. He's being real patient with him. Jumped all over it.
What's that?
Let's see what we got here. I'm willing to bet it's a sand bass. There it is. Oh! Uh-oh. Here's jackpot for now.
There you go, Dan.
All right, thanks, George.
Another
Sand bass.
Another one we're going to toss back. His bladder's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, that's a legal fish. I think that'll go about 14 inches.
Yeah, right about 14.
All right. This is the jig that I'm fishing with. It's a large twin-tail jig. And what I'm going to do is just grab one of these little live squids. We got some in the tanks today. We're fortunate. I'm just going to pin them on. Just like that. Go ahead of the rail, cast it out. Always watch behind you when you cast. Toss it out there.
One more shot at one other appraiser.
You have to remember the bass are all the way down on the bottom. We're fishing for sand bass. And they're not really suspended. They're just hugging the bottom, staying around the structure. So you got to get your bait down there. And that's why we're fishing that a little bit heavier jigs. Normally I wouldn't fish a lead head this heavy on such a light line. But I have a 2.5 ounce lead head fishing with 10-pound test line with basically a freshwater bass outfit. And just letting it fall all the way down there. And because it is winter time, you really have to fish the lighter lines, and you have to fish a lot slower. Where in the spring and summer, you might want to take a lot of cranks, put your reel in free spool, and let the bait move around. In wintertime fishing like this, you just have to be a lot more deliberate, a lot slower. Just barely drag your baits on the bottom and let the fish come up to them. And what you'll find out too a lot, fishing these plastics, is in the springtime they'll just engulf them. They'll come by, just swallow them, ambush them, eat them. In the wintertime like this, they might even just pick it up, chew on it a little bit, taste the squid, chew on it a little bit more, and then you set the hook in them. So just go ahead and just keep working this on the bottom. See if we can get us a fish. Yeah! See if he's still there. Yeah, there he is. It's working that little green jig right on the bottom there, a piece of squid on it. And they just can't seem to pass it up. Sand bass are a lot of fun on the light line. Here he is. Well, he devoured that one too. This one probably just go about 12 inches. Oh, he wrapped himself good on that one. And all wrapped around that thing. A little bit this way, some that way. It's a little sand bass, just pop them here so it'll be fine. Go ahead and let them go. This is what we're trying to catch. There he goes.
That was fun.
Try a little bit different. This is a bomber spoon freshwater lure. Got a whole live squid on it. Drop it down the bottom, see what we can get. Now we just made a move. We were fishing a wreck up off San Onofre, and we just made a move. We're farther south. Tom, what area is this? Barn Cow? Why we moved to this spot?
Yesterday we got some nice quality sand bass here, and it was pretty good.
Let's go ahead and fish the bottom. I'm fishing with a bomber jig now. It's a little lead head with a little skirt on it. And just like a hair skirt on it. Just got a piece of squid on it, just working it down, letting it fall. I'm getting bit. Yeah. There we go. Got a nice fish on there. Boy, it's pulling good. We gotta watch out for that seal. What is it? Oh, big sand bass. This is a sand bass. Here we go. And just bounce it up here. There's a good sand bass. Thanks, George. Here, let's just show that to the viewers what we got there. It's a nice sand bass. One of the largest fish so far taken on the day. I know there'll be bigger fish taken later, but this is the little jig that we're talking about. It's made by Bomber. It's a white jig and just has a little white hairs on there with the lead head. Just add a little piece of squid to that, fishing it on the fall, and this big sand bass came up and took it. It's a quality fish, but I know there'll be bigger ones, so we'll go ahead and let this one go. All right.
Okay, gang, let's cut one of these babies up and go down and fry her up. These sand bass in the wintertime are really, really good. It's a little colder water and they really taste real good. So used to leaving that skin on these fish, you better take that off there. Get a hold of it. Okay. Toss this over here and we'll run down in the galley and fry this puppy up. Okay, all you need is a little salt and pepper. And maybe a little onion. We'll have a little onion with it. Just a little bit diced. Mix in with that. And that's all you really need. A little salt, pepper, and butter. A little onion, and it comes out delicious. Very mild, nice fish, this sand bass is, especially in the winter when it's cold, like I said. These sand bass in the wintertime, water temperature gets down 57, 58 degrees. These fish, the meat, you can tell, it's just firmed right up real nice. And they're a very, very mild, nice eating fish. Not strong at all. The boat here, if you're coming out on just the regular 3/4 day boat, we've got burgers, We've got a regular breakfast, consists of bacon, eggs, potatoes, toast. We've got soft drinks and beer, coffee, hot dogs, grilled cheese, and that's about it. That's our menu. And there you have a nice little lunch. Real simple, real nice.
That looks wonderful.
Let me give you a fork, yeah?
Yeah, let me try a piece of this. Well, George, this looks great. I'm sure it tastes just as good. It's the best sand bass I've ever had.
Delicious, isn't it? Very, very nice.
Thanks a lot, George.
Okay.
And for those of you who've never been out, make sure you come out here on the Clemente, see George, and maybe even have one of your fish cooked up by him. It's real delicious. And, you know, for those of you who've never been on sport boats, just remember, boats like the Clemente have a full-blown galley, so you don't have to worry about going without breakfast or without lunch. You know, you can get a good burger or even a fish dish like this on a sport boat like this. Thanks a lot, George. When we return, we've got our real galley segment from Alvera Street, so don't go away.
The Galley, recipes and tips for preparing your fish at home. This week, The Galley is brought to you by the San Diego Sport Fishing Council.
This week's galley segment comes to you from La Golondrina Cafe in famous Alvera Street near downtown Los Angeles. We have a special treat for you this week in our galley section. We've come to downtown Los Angeles to Alvera Street, and our hostess today is Vivian. Thank you very much for having us.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
And tell our viewers a little bit about your restaurant.
Our restaurant is one of the oldest Mexican restaurants in Los Angeles. We've been in business for 68 years. My grandmother was the founder. Of course, this is the first brick building in Los Angeles. It's a beautiful brick building with an awful lot of ambiance and an awful lot of charm.
And people are coming down to Alvera Street. They want the name of your restaurant?
La Golondrina Cafe, right in the middle of Alvera Street, in the heart of Alvera Street.
Wow. Okay, and today what do you have for us?
Today we're going to be preparing some charbroiled fish with a very special sauce which is very light for health-conscious diners. And basically, it's a nice fillet of fish, boned and skinned. We're going to place it on the charbroiler. We're going to add a sauce which is prepared with butter or no cholesterol oil, as your preference may be, with garlic, with lemon, cilantro, and then we will adorn the fish with some red onions marinated in fresh lemon juice.
You know, this is a traditional Mexican plate that we're going to be having?
That's correct. This is pescado a la parrilla.
And you can have it with either a freshwater fish or saltwater fish.
That's correct.
But today we're going to make it up with red snapper.
That's right.
Well, why don't we get over to the grill and make the sauce?
Very good.
Okay, Vivian, so this is a finished plate without the sauce on it. We have our red snapper, our steamed vegetables, Spanish rice, and now to just make this a perfect dish, we're going to go ahead and add your special sauce to that?
That's right. We're going to add the sauce right on top.
Okay, we got our hot sauce. We just grilled it, made it.
That's right. This is going to finish the plate. And then, of course, we add for flavor and for
A little bit of color.
a little color, the red onions marinated in the fresh lemon juice.
Okay, this looks delicious. I gotta try a piece. That's delicious.
Very good. I'm glad you like it.
Well, thanks a lot, Vivian, for having us here.
Thank you very
And
much.
for all of you out there who've never been down to Alvera Street, to come on down, try a dish like this. Vivian will be happy to make it for you. Remember, Alvera Street is more than just a place for the tourists. It's for all of us that live here in Southern California.
Thank you very much.
Here's the difference between a calico and a sand bass. A barred sand bass, you can see the difference.
There's a lot of difference in that. The calico's got more of the dots, and sand bass has the stripes. Well, the fins are a little bit different too, huh?
Yeah.
More of a greener, more of a gray or blue.
Now, is one fish more typical during the winter than the other, or this region do we find both fish?
We find both fish all year round. In the summertime, we spend a lot of time out in the mud, in the flats, and these guys spawn out there. And it's one of our main sources during the summertime is the sand bass. And during June or so is when the calico bass spawn, June and early July. And we do a lot of concentration on those in that part of the month.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. For those of you who haven't been out on the Clemente, you got to come out and book a trip soon so you can get into this type of fishing.
The tip of the week is brought to you by Checkpoint Hook and Knife Sharpeners.
Tom will be giving us this week's tip of the week.
Today we had some pretty fair fishing, even though it is winter time. And in the winter time, we have a lot of different options as far as bait goes. Like today we had some live squid, which helped us out tremendously. In fact, it made our day. In the winter time, it's always good to remember that fishing can be a little bit slower. You can try a little bit harder. You have a lot of more options. You can try more stuff in your tackle box. And basically, just have a lot of patience and come out and have some fun.
And that's this week's tip of the week. Tom, I'd like to thank you for having us out. Everybody from the sport fishing crew had a great time. And I know all the people that were on our charter today had a great time too. Well, I'm Dan Hernandez, hoping you enjoyed this week's episode of Sport Fishing, and I hope you join us next week when we go looking for more of the best in sport fishing. Let's go home.